Hello, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm John, an old YouTuber and PC gamer. I keep finished eating my hot foods. I made some hot foods, rice and this fish. And actually I should open my doors and windows and get some fresh air. But can do that later. It's soon 5 p.m. and let's do this X86 instructions and X sample language instruction listings. That's a lot of pages. This is 30 pages. X86 sample language. That's 16 pages. This is 70 pages. X86 instruction listing. That's a lot of pages. And then this X86/64 instructions. That's 28 pages, so that's a lot of more pages. Yes, so I will go to my beds, and I have to not to click the mouse, because if I click the mouse when it's reading, it stops reading and you cannot start it again. But that's because I'm used to have my fingers on the mouse buttons. When I'm moving the mouse, I should not have my fingers on the mouse. Yes, not the mouse button. I have to just read the whole documents.
X86. X86 designer Intel, AMD bits 16-bit, 32-bit and 64-bit introduced 1978, 16-bit, 1985. 32-bit, 2003, 64-bit. Design SysType register memory encoding variable, 1 to 15 bytes. Branching condition code Indianness little page size 8086 I286, none E386, I486, fork page 5 Pentium, added 4 MB pages. Legacy PAE 4KB 2 MB, X86-64, added 1 page A's extensions X87, IA32, X86-64 MMX, 3D now, SSEMCA, ACP, SSE2NX-bit, SMT, SSE3 SSE3, SSE4 SSE4.2, AESNI COMUL, ADRAND SHA, MPX, SME SGX, XOP, F16CADX, BMI, FMA, AVX AVX2, AVX, VNNI AVX512, VTX, VTD AMD6TSX, ASF, ETOPEN partly. For some advanced features X86 may require. X86 is a family of complex instruction set computer, CISC, instruction set architectures, initially developed by Intel based on the Intel 8086 microprocessor and its 8088 variant. The 8086 was introduced in 1978 as a fully 16-bit extension of Intel's 8-bit 8080 microprocessor, with memory segmentation as a solution for addressing more memory than can be covered by a plain 16-bit address. The term X86 came into being because the names of several successors to Intel's 8086 processor end in 86, including 80186, 80286, 80386 and 80486 processors. The term is not synonymous with IBM PC compatibility, as this implies a multitude of other computer hardware. Embedded systems and general-purpose computers used X86 chips before the compatible market started. B. Some of them before the IBM PC, 1981. Debut. As of 2022, most desktop computers, laptops and game consoles, with the exception of the Nintendo Switch, 2, sold are based on the X86 architecture family, while mobile categories such as smartphones or tablets are dominated by ARM. At the high-end, X86 continues to dominate compute-intensive workstation and cloud computing segments. 3. While the fastest supercomputer in 2020 was ARM-based, with the top 4 no longer X86 based in that year. 4. Contents. Overview. Chronology. History. Designers and manufacturers. From 16-bit and 32-bit to 64-bit architecture. Basic properties of the architecture: floating point and SIMD. Current implementations. Segmentation. Addressing modes. X86 registers 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit. License from Intel. X86-64 may require an additional license from AMD. The 80486 processor has been on the market for more than 30 years. 1. And so cannot be subject to patent claims. The Pro586 subset of the X86 architecture is therefore fully open. Registers general purpose 16-bit, 6 semi-dedicated registers, BP and SP are not general purpose. 32-bit, 8 GPRs including EBP and ESP. 64-bit, 16 GPRs including RBP and RSP. Floating point 16-bit, optional separate X87 FPU. 32-bit, optional separate or integrated X87 FPU, integrated SSE units in later processors. 64-bit, integrated X87 and SSE2 units, later implementations extended to AVX2 and AVX512. 128-bit, 256-bit, 512-bit. Miscellaneous / special purpose. Purpose. Structure. Operating modes: real mode, unreal mode, system management mode, protected mode, virtual 8086 mode, long mode. Extensions: floating point unit, MMX, 3D now, SSE and AVX. Physical address extension, PAE. X86-64. Virtualization, AES. See also. Notes. References. Further reading. External links. Overview. In the 1980s and early 1990s, when the 8088 and 80286 were still in common use, the term X86 usually represented any 8086 compatible CPU. Today, however, X86 usually implies a binary compatibility also with the 32-bit instruction set of the 80386. This is due to the fact that this instruction set has become something of a lowest common denominator for many modern operating systems, and probably also because the term became common after the introduction of the 80386 in 1985. A few years after the introduction of the 8086 and 8088, Intel added some complexity to its naming scheme and terminology as IAPX of the ambitious but ill-fated Intel IAPX 432 processor was tried on the more successful 8086 family of chips, applied as a kind of system level prefix. An 8086 system, including co-processors such as 8087 and 8089, and simpler Intel-specific system chips, was thereby described as an IAPX86 system. 5e. There were also terms IRMX, for operating systems, ISBC. The x86 architectures were based on the Intel 8086 microprocessor chip initially released in 1978. Intel Core 2 Duo, an example of x86 compatible 64-bit multi-core reprocessor AMD Athlon, early version, a technically different but fully compatible x86 implementation for single-board computers, and ISBX for multi-module boards based on the 8086 architecture, all together under the heading Microsystem 80.67. However, this naming scheme was quite temporary, lasting for a few years during the early 1980s. Although the 8086 was primarily developed for embedded systems and small multi-user or single-user computers, largely as a response to the successful 8080 compatible Zilog Z80-8, the x86 line soon grew in features and processing power. Today, x86 is ubiquitous in both stationary and portable personal computers, and is also used in mid-range computers, workstations, servers, and most new supercomputer clusters of the top 500 list. A large amount of software, including a large list of x86 operating systems, are using x86-based hardware. Modern x86 is relatively uncommon in embedded systems, however, and small low-power applications, using tiny batteries, and low-cost microprocessor markets, such as home appliances and toys, lack significant x86 presence. Simple 8 and 16-bit base architectures are common here, although the x86 compatible via X7, via Nano, AMD's Geode, Athlon Neo and Intel Atom are examples of 32 and 64-bit designs used in some relatively low power and low cost segments. There have been several attempts, including by Intel, to end the market dominance of the inelegant x86 architecture designer directly from the first simple 8-bit microprocessors. Examples of this are the IAPX432, a project originally named the Intel 8809, the Intel 960, Intel 860 and the Intel /Hewlett-Packard Titanium architecture. However, the continuous refinement of x86 microarchitectures, circuitry and semiconductor manufacturing would make it hard to replace x86 in many segments. AMD's 64-bit extension of x86, which Intel eventually responded to with a compatible design, 10, and the scalability of x86 chips in the form of modern multi-core CPUs, is underlining x86 as an example of how continuous refinement of established industry standards can resist the competition from completely new architectures. 11. Chronology. The table below lists processor models and model series implementing various architectures in the x86 family, in chronological order. Each line item is characterized by significantly improved or commercially successful processor microarchitecture designs. Chronology of x86 processors. Range reduction. Prominent CPU models. Address space. Notable features. Linear virtual physical. x86-6161 ST1978 Intel 8086, Intel 8088, 1979. 16-bit NA 20-bit 16-bit ISA, IBM PC, 8088, IBM PC /XT, 8088, 1982 Intel 80186, Intel 80188 NEC V20 /B30, 1983, 8086-2 ISA embedded, 80186 /8088, 2ND Intel 80286 and clones 30-bit 24-bit protected mode IBM PC /XT286 IBM PC /ATIA 323 Road 1985 Intel 80386, AMD M386, 1991. 32-bit, 46-bit, 32-bit, 32-bit ISA. Paging IBM PS/24th. Pipelining cache, 1989 Intel 80486. Cyrix CX486S, DLC, 1992. AMD M486, 1993, M5X86, 1995. Pipelining, on die X87 FPU, 486DX, on die cache 5TH. Superscalar, 1993 Intel Pentium MMX, 1996. Superscalar, 64-bit databus, faster FPU, MMX, Pentium MMX, APIC, SMP 1994 Next Gen NX586. AMD 5K86/K5, 1996. Discrete microarchitecture, OP translation, 1995 Cyrix CX5X86. Cyrix 6X86/MX, 1997, /Me, 1998, Dynamic Execution 6TH. PAE, OP translation, 1995 Intel Pentium Pro 36-bit. PAE, OP translation conditional move instructions dynamic execution speculative execution. 3-way E86 Superscalar FPU PAE, on-chip L2 cache 1997 Intel Pentium 2 Pentium 3, 1999. Celeron, 1998, Xeon, 1998, on package, Pentium 2, or on die, Celeron, L2 cache, SSE, Pentium 3, slot 1 socket 370 or slot 2, Xeon, 1997 AMD K6/K6-2, 1998/K6-3, 1999, 32-bit 3D now, 3-level cache system, K6-3, enhanced platform 1999 AMD Athlon. Athlon XP/MP, 2001. 36-bit MMX Plus, 3D now, plus double pumped bus slotter or socketer. Duran, 2000. Sempron, 2004. 2000 Transmeta Crusoe 32-bit CMS-powered X86 platform processively 128-core, on-die memory controller, on-die Xi bridge logic Intel Pentium 4 36-bit SSE2, HTT, Northwood, NetBurst, quad-pumped bus, trace cache, socket 4782003 Intel Pentium M. Intel Core, 2006. Pentium Dual Core, 2007, OP Fusion, XD-bit, Dutton, Intel Core Yona, Transmutaficen 6.0.4, V256, NX-bit, HTIA 6464-bit Transition 1999-2005-2001 Intel Itanium, 2001 to 2017. 52-bit 64-bit EPI architecture, 128-bit VLIW instruction bundle, on-die hardware IA32H/ enabling X86 OSes and X86 applications, early generations, software IA32 enabling X86 applications. Itanium 2. Itanium register files are mapped to X86 registers X86-6464-bit extended since 2001. X86-64 is the 64-bit extended architecture of X86. Its legacy mode preserves the entire and unaltered X86 architecture. The native architecture of X86-64 processors, residing in the 64-bit mode, lacks of access mode in segmentation, presenting 64-bit architectural permit linear address space, An adapted IA32 architecture residing in the compatibility mode alongside 64-bit mode is provided to support most x86 applications. 2003 Athlon 64/FX/X2 2005 Optron Sempron 2004/X2